You'll see a lot of videos on YouTube right now where people are talking about combining Claude and Canva together using Claude's connector so that you can automate a bunch of designs, whether that's for social media posts, for advertising, whatever it may be. I wanted to make this video to give my honest opinion on how that ends up looking, show you my approach for this strategy, as well as an alternative approach that I feel is better if you're trying to stay on brand. But before I do this, I actually want to show what is going on behind the scenes when you're using Claude and Canva with the connector to create your designs, because it may be a little bit different than you think. Okay, so this is actually how it ends up looking when you're using Claude and Canva together using the connector. Now, you might think that Claude is doing a lot of the legwork here, but it really isn't. And essentially what Claude is doing is it's acting as a prompt that you're going to give to Canva. So what happens is you have an idea and you explain to Claude what you're looking for. Claude then is essentially turning it into a usable prompt to give to Canva. And the easy part here is that it's feeding it to Canva for you so that you don't have to go into Canva yourself. Then it turns it over to Canva's AI, which I believe is called Magic Design, and Canva is actually doing the image generation for you using the prompt that you got from Claude. And while this approach is incredibly convenient, there are some huge limitations to it, in my opinion. The one main thing being that Canva actually has a bunch of preloaded templates that it's going to use based on what you're asking it to design. And so there isn't really a way to ensure that Canva is actually going to use a given template. And so you're kind of leaving it up to Canva here to decide on what would be the best template. And that becomes a problem because every new image generation could be a different template. Now, a lot of people are trying to get around this by creating their own brand templates inside Canva. And although I believe this can work, to my understanding, there's still the problem that you can't actually ensure that that brand template is being used each time. And so what I'm seeing is you're getting inconsistent and also underwhelming designs that aren't necessarily on brand. So with that being said, if you do want to try this approach to yourself, I do have a certain way that I like to do it that ensures a little more consistency. The first thing you're going to want to do is actually connect Claude to Canva. So I'm inside my chat here. I'm inside Claude Desktop. All I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here to the bottom left. I'm going to click Settings, and then I'm going to go to Connectors. Then I'm just going to click this Customize button, and I'm going to click this plus symbol right here. Now I'm going to browse Connectors. And you could type in Canva, but as you see, Canva shows up for me right here. And I'm already connected, but you would just click connect. And the first thing you're going to want to do is have Claude create you a brand style guide. Now, you might already have your brand all figured out and all the color palettes, and that's fine. You could just give Claude that. However, you don't even need to do that. You could just simply give it some screenshots of certain designs that you want it to look like, and it will do a really good job of creating a brand design out of that. Or alternatively, if you don't even have a visual guide to give it, you can just do what I did for this video, and I just gave Claude an idea of the type of design I'm looking for, and it made me a brand style guide out of that. And now one thing I should add is in this approach, we're actually going to be creating a brand template inside Canva, and because of that, I explained to Claude when it's making this guide that this is specifically meant so I can bring it over to Canva to create my brand template. And so this is the document that it ends up creating for me. As you can see, it has the brand positioning, the brand voice. It has all the different color palettes that we're going to go through. This is a very detailed guide. And when I give it to Canva, it's not actually going to be using absolutely everything, but it will have all the main bits of information that I'm going to want. And as you can see here, it even has the different types of fonts that you're going to want to use. Now, one other thing is when you create this style guide, you need to make sure that you convert it to a PDF so that you can upload it to Canva so that you don't have to do anything manually yourself. So now that I have my style guide, I've gone into Canva and I've clicked on this brand tab right here. Now, I've already made a new brand kit called Example Brand, but if not, you would just go to Create New Brand. I'm going to go here to All Assets, and you see there's an Upload Guidelines button right here. I'm going to upload my PDF file to that. And so the style guide that I've made is specifically for LinkedIn posts, so I'm going to use my LinkedIn brand style guide. And so from that PDF file that we uploaded, we now have our colors, we have the fonts, we have our brand voice, we have graphics, and basically what it's done is just extracted all that information from that brand guide. So now I'm back in Claude, I've started a new chat, and I'm going to have it make me some LinkedIn posts, and I'm going to reference the brand kit that we just made. Hey Claude, I want you to connect to my example brand kit inside Canva and to make me some LinkedIn posts on the topic of using Claude and Canva together so that you can automate your posts. What Claude's doing now is it's looking through my brand kits and making sure it's trying to connect to the correct one. And so it's asked me here, which brand kit exactly are you looking for? And I'm going to do number 1, the example brand. And so finally, it's generating the designs. And this may take a second because, like you said, it's not actually Claude that's generating these designs. It's just giving a prompt over to Canva, and Canva's making the designs and then sending it back to me. Okay, so here are the designs that it made. And so it's given me 4 different designs to choose from, and I can open them in Canva. I'll just open this one right here. And so you can see this isn't bad by any means, but to me it kind of screams AI, and it's not great, it's not super polished. And if I were to keep doing this, it would be difficult to get the same kind of aesthetic every single time. And honestly, like I said earlier, there's not always a guarantee. Even if Claude says that it's connected to your brand kit, from what I understand, you don't completely know for sure if it's doing that every single time. But this isn't bad, and if you're just trying to do some quick posts, now you have that workflow set up, very easy. And so as I mentioned, I also have an alternative approach, which I personally prefer. What I did is I actually just asked Claude, hey, can you take my brand style guide and make me some HTML mockups of the types of images that you think I would want to see? And that's exactly what it did right here. And so it made these mockups, which I think personally look a lot more professional and just less obvious that you're using AI to generate it. And so once I was happy with those designs, I just told Claude to make them into PNG files for me. So I have my PNGs now, but as you can imagine, the PNGs are more or less just templates, right? Like it's not going to have every single specific bit of information that I want in there. I could go back and forth with Claude on what I want it to say exactly, but it might make some mistakes. It might not look exactly how I want it to look. And to be honest, it will probably just use a lot of credits. So what I'll actually do is I will go and make a new project inside Canva, and I'm going to click on LinkedIn post to make sure it's the right dimension. Then I'm going to go over to Canva AI right here. And I'm actually just going to upload those PNGs. And so I'll grab this one right here. And now basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to Canva AI and say, hey, take this PNG and make it an image on this page that I can edit. So that's what I've done here. I've just said, take this PNG and make it an image on this page that I can edit. So now Canva's going to work on this. So it might just take a little second. And you can actually see it kind of in the process. So it will start to put something together that won't look quite right. And it will probably just continue to correct itself. So eventually you'll get something close to what you want. And so now it's all done. And as you can see, I can click on here. I can change the font type. You see, it's actually got the font type wrong. I'll change that to Inter. I can change the handle. I can make any kind of change to this page that I want. But the point being, I've been able to take that PNG template and bring it over to Canva so that I can further edit it. And this, in my opinion, this approach just gives you so much more control. It really does a better job at adhering to your brand guideline too. It takes a little bit longer, but I think you will end up getting better designs out of it, which is why I think it's worth it. So that's all I really wanted to go over in this video. If you've made it this far, I really do appreciate you watching. And thank you. Have a good day.